All right, peace, family. Been seeing a lot of stuff in the news as well as on social media lately, as far as the whole Gayle King and Snoop Dogg controversy. I didn't do a video about the death of Kobe Bryant or any of the people who may have said anything negative about Kobe as far as the rape allegations are concerned, because I knew there would be a lot of people that would be commenting on this subject, and I was like, what the fuck is the point? So what I decided to do was study a lot of the shit that was being said. And when Snoop did his response to what Gayle King and others have said about this brother, whether those allegations are true or not, which from the court records and documents, the things that were said about him as far as the allegations are concerned were not true. But nonetheless, I sat back and I studied a lot of the things that were being said, and even though they were comments about Kobe, it has a bigger picture, in my opinion, as far as what the media and other people who think like the dominant society was trying to say about black men, and that is that we're predators, or we're just straight up monsters. So I've been saying this narrative for a couple of years now, and it's gotten to the point where I've done a couple of videos where I've hinted at this, but today, I think I'm just going to go ahead and go into this particular subject matter, not so much as what they're saying about black men, but we're going to flip this shit. We're going to let you guys see, and when I say guys, I'm talking about the dominant society, and I'm also talking about those black women who feel like what the dominant society has to say about black men, they believe that shit. Now, for the black women that do not, because I try to make a distinction when I'm calling out, groups of people, whether it's dealing with races or it's dealing with gender. So, seeing that I'm talking about black women, I'm not talking about all black women. And like I told you guys in a previous video that I did a couple of weeks back, I love black women. Like I said in that video, it doesn't matter what a black woman does. That's still my woman. That's still the goddess. That's still the queen. But I don't have to like what the fuck you say, especially when that shit is not rooted in actual facts. And what do I mean by actual facts? I mean something that when you put that shit out there, it will stand the test of time. It cannot be disputed. So when these accusations are made that black men don't do this, black men are disrespectful, black men cheat, black men do everything under the damn sun that is not right, as far as what the dominant society has had to say about us, as well as some of you black women that think that way, I'm here to dispel that shit. And I'm here to dispel that shit in an unapologetic way. I'm not apologizing for shit that comes out of my mouth, no matter how I say it, because if I said it, that's the way I fucking meant it. And if that's not the way that I meant it, then don't say the shit. And that's coming off of the apology that Snoop made to Gayle King. Do I think he should have apologized? No, because the brother said what the fuck he felt. Just like I feel like she said what the fuck she felt. My occupation is not a journalist, and I haven't went to school for media, any of those things, but yet I'm doing those very same things. And you do your research as well as structure how you want your information to come out. You sit back and you think about it. You think about who it's going to affect, as well as how it's going to affect those individuals. And you weigh those pros and cons into balance, and you decide on whether you're going to put that material out. And once you put that material out, you know that you cannot take it back. So when people put out whatever it is that they're going to put out, and then they come out and say that they were sorry for saying what the fuck it was that they said, to me, and I may be wrong, I feel like, that's a complete lie. Because whatever way that you felt during the time that you said what you said, whether you thought about it to a certain level or not, you said what the fuck you said, and that's the way you meant it. Why change it? And in a situation like this, why change it? And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And like I said, I'm not apologizing for anything that I let come out of my mouth. If I said it, that's the way I fucking felt about it. But this thing of bashing black men and bashing black men, that shit get ready to stop, man, as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm getting ready to start firing back at some of you motherfuckers that want to keep saying we ain't shit. As if men in other races don't do some of the fucked up shit that black men do. Because like I said in the other videos that I've done, them motherfuckers cheat too. But it seems like everybody wants to make us the fucking poster boy for this particular way of thinking and way of doing things as it pertains to women and black women in particular. So this video is going to be titled "The Return, Rise, and Unapologetic Nature of the Black Man. Reclaim Your Throne." And yeah, that's what the fuck we get ready to do. Because contrary to popular belief, there are some black men, a lot of black men, a lot of brothers that are out there putting in work, and we're not trying to be on no fucking TV. There are a lot of black men out there that are doing what needs to be done for their families. We're not trying to put that shit out to the public. There are a lot of black men who are out here in these streets that are doing what needs to be done in the community. We're not trying to put that shit out on social media. We do what we do behind the scenes. And if there are times when something does surface on social media, whether we put it out there or not, we're not glorifying that shit. We're just doing the work. And that's all that we're doing. But you people that find time to say all this negative shit about what the fuck black men don't do, they find that same motherfucking time to talk about the shit that we do. And if you can't give a balance to what the fuck it is that we do, whether it's from a negative point of view or a positive point of view, then don't fucking say shit. Don't open up your fucking mouth about black men, period. Because we're not one-dimensional. But a lot of you want to try to make us one-dimensional. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this fucking topic. So, like I said, this is coming off of, this thing with between Snoop and Gayle. And, I listened to a podcast show that I really enjoy. And, they were talking about this. Matter of fact, this was a recent video that I think, or podcast that was put out earlier this week. I'm not going to mention, the individual's name, but, there were some things that they said on the podcast that I agree with. And then there were things that I didn't agree with. And one of the things that I did not agree with is that when it came to Gayle, it was something was said that the disrespect that she received, which they weren't in favor of what she said either, but they were not in favor of how people came at her, and that what Snoop said should have been worded a little different because she's an elder. And my question is this: yes, she is an elder. She's an elder to the black community because she's a black woman. But on a mental aspect, from a psychological aspect, is she an elder to the black community, or is she an elder to those who were in the dominant society that applauded what the fuck she said? And that's the distinction that we need to make. You cannot straddle the fucking fence when it comes to this fucking struggle. You have to choose a fucking side. She chose her side. So just because she's black, that doesn't mean that she's a fucking elder to us. Because if she was, then she would be doing what she needs to do in accord with what the fuck we're trying to do. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. You have to make the playing field level. If you're gonna go after brothers for doing fucked up shit, and we need to do that because a lot of our men need to be corrected on some of the bullshit that they do, then at the same time, when you know that the dominant society is always trying to crucify us, especially black men, you need to do the same in return when it comes to the dominant society, because we all know that they have always done fucked up shit. But when it comes to the dominant society and those men in the dominant society, they always get a fucking pass. Or if you do come out against them, the veracity in which you do it pales in comparison to what you do when it is concerning black men as well as black women. So, riding off of this whole thing of what was going on between Snoop and Gayle. So these are some of the things that I wrote. People were upset because Snoop's dialogue dealt with the nature of the questioning as it pertains to the rape case of Kobe Bryant. Unapologetic as to how he felt as it pertained to Kobe Bryant, but also on how it pertained to black men in general. So, since he was unapologetic, what he said came from the heart, and we all felt that. And I think that's why a lot of people rode with Snoop, because not only are black men tired of hearing this shit, but there are a lot of black women at the time tired of hearing this shit as well. So when the brother said what he said, we stood behind him because he was saying something that a lot of us already felt anyway. And because he's well known throughout this nation and he has a bigger platform, with him saying what he said resonated more than what the average person could have done. So it registered more with us than it did if someone who was not well known would have said something like that. So when we look at this shit, we got to go with what was the goal as far as the backlash that came from this shit after Snoop said what he said. And that is to make black men the face of the boogeyman, to make the black man the face of being the sexual predator, to make the black man the face of being the person that will be the scapegoat when it comes to shit like this. That has always been the goal. You have to deflect shit in another direction, especially when the heat start coming down to the people who have always done this shit. You have to deflect that shit. You have to turn it in another direction so that you take the focus off of the people that you need to keep the focus on, and then you put the focus on the people that everybody is going to look at and be like, yeah, these are the people that we need to stay focused on, because their history, according to the dominant society, has always shown them to be monsters. And so through the years, this is what's been happening. This is what's been happening to black men. We've been thrown under the bus, as well as black women. But this is not the video for that particular discussion as it pertains to black women. This is about black men, because we've been kicked and beat and thrown up under the fucking bus so many goddamn times, man, that it's not even funny. Not only are we being kicked and thrown under the bus by the dominant society, but now some of our own women are doing that shit. And with the black men that are out here doing shit that makes the black woman want to say that shit, yo, we cannot rise if we don't have our women behind us. So we're going to have to change that narrative. But at the same time, with us changing that narrative, meaning we got to clean our shit up, then what are you going to do, black woman? The black women that keep saying this shit. The black women that keep saying black men are no good. Black men can't be trusted. Black men can't be faithful. Black men don't protect their families. Well, what about those of us that are out there doing that? Those of us that are out there protecting our families. So when we go out there and we do the things that we do, let's say we lose our life. and we got babies at home. We got loved ones at home. What the fuck do y'all come in to do to fill that fucking void? Because 9 times out of 10, when a brother loses his life, no one comes in to fill that void. You'll see shit plastered all over social media, but how do you fill that void? Because that void can never be filled. There's nothing that you could do that will equal the return of someone whose life has been taken in the name of fighting for justice, freedom, and equality for our people. So when that happens, when y'all keep saying, you know, black men need to protect us, but when the black man does step up and do that shit, then what do you do in return? And that's a question that a lot of you women who are out here saying that we don't do shit, you need to ask yourself that question. So let's keep it moving. So that goes into gender roles. Generally speaking, the narrative is to display the woman as dominant and the male as recessive. And the reason why I say that is because if you start looking at the narrative that they're doing now, as far as movies and shit are concerned, and TV shows, that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing roles being reversed to where the female is dominant, the male is recessive. One particular show that I watch is called Emergence. And Emergence is about this white lady who's the, I think, the chief of police. And the plot or the synopsis of the TV show is about this woman who ends up protecting this little girl. But come to find out, the little girl is not even human. She's kind of like a cyborg, so to speak. She has human qualities. She bleeds. She can also die. Everything that a human can do as far as anatomy-wise, she has that. But the basis for her life is she's also a machine. So this woman ends up getting attached to this particular entity. Now, as the story goes along, they find out that some people want this child back by any means necessary. So when they come to get this child, they end up coming to this woman's house to retrieve the child. But they're trying to do it in an underhanded way. So when they break into this woman's house, she has a gun. She has an ex-husband who is played by Donna Faison. She has a father who is played by Clancy Brown. There's another police officer, black dude, Robert Bailey Jr. And then you have a reporter who is working with her by the name of Owen, I think, Yeoman. All of these men, except for, I think, the black dude that plays the cop, are in the house. And the reporter may not be there as well. So what happens is, when these people break into her house, she's the one with the gun. And she tells all of them, the men, as well as the children, to stay in the room, especially the men. So she's creeping through the house looking for these individuals to either apprehend them or shoot them on sight. Her goal is to nullify the threat. As you watch her go through the different rooms in the house, the men come out, but they're creeping behind her as if she's the protector. She's the dominant factor. What fucking man does that? And that's, this right here ain't even about fucking race. What man does that? The only type of man that does that is a weak man. Because if I'm in my house and there are people in my house, especially women, you don't send a woman out to do some shit like that. You tell the woman to stay behind with the children. You go the fuck out. And your job is to nullify any fucking threat that is in your home. Any damn threat that is there to take you and your loved ones out. But you don't send your fucking woman out. If anything, you tell her, you stay in this fucking room, you lock the goddamn doors. And anything that comes through this damn door that is not me, you shoot them motherfuckers until you can't shoot no more. That's what a real man would do. But the way they're writing these fucking stories now, they're switching the fucking roles around. They did the same thing in Arrow. The dude that played Arrow has 2 kids. a female and a male. The fucking chick is like her daddy. She's masculine. And the damn boy, he's feminine as fuck. He's gay. Now, don't have nothing against gay people, but I don't agree with the shit. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's normal. But hey, that's what you do. Do what you do. But you don't get no props here for me with shit like that. I don't think it's right. I think that it's wrong. And I don't see where that has always been dominant in nature. That is something that is like a fluke in nature. You don't see shit like that in nature as being the norm. But nonetheless, that's the way they have the roles going, to the point where she's the masculine aspect with the feminine body, and he's the feminine aspect with the male body. But that's the way they're writing and producing these roles now. So one of the questions that I asked, which I think that I've already posed that question, is what man in his right mind would ever let his woman take the lead in a situation like that, regardless of whether she had a weapon or not? I went on to state that the duty of a man is to protect his family, even if it cost him his life. That's what we do. But that goes back to this whole thing about black women saying that black men don't do shit. Black men don't protect them. Because a black woman, contrary to popular belief, with all of these women saying all of this shit about black men, it's not that they don't want a black man. They want a black man. They don't want to go outside of the race. They just want the black men that are within the race that they are a part of to get their shit together so that they can be with a black man. And we understand where you're coming from, Queens. We understand that a lot of us need to get our shit together. But you don't kick us to the fucking curb because some of us don't know how to get our shit together. And some of us will probably never, ever get our shit together. But you don't kick us to the damn curb and then put a monkey wrench in the goddamn game to where we can't rebuild a fucking black family because you've been hurt by a motherfucker that you picked and didn't take the time to get to know. Or if you did get to know him, you started seeing the fucking signs and you stayed with the bitch anyway. But you don't kick us to the curb because of some shit like that. Because you have to have better judgment. And all of us, I'm pretty sure, have been in multiple relationships. So to say that you didn't see these things and you didn't study these things, that's bullshit. Everyone sees signs. But what we usually do is we ignore that shit and try to hope for the best, thinking that, oh, he'll change. He'll change. No. Well, yeah, the motherfuckers do change. They get worse. But then you stay in it, and then when you get hurt by this dude and then hurt by the next dude, then you start looking at it like all you motherfuckers is fucked up. And you can't do that shit, because that's just like the same way black women get hurt in relationships, so do black men. So are we to turn around and say that all of y'all are fucked up, but you got some dumbass motherfuckers out there that will do that shit? But no, all black women are not fucked up, man. Some of y'all are, but not all of you. And it's the same thing with black men. So that leads us into this feminism shit. What is feminism? A belief in the political, economic, and cultural equality of women. Here's the thing with that. Feminism had nothing to do with the black woman as far as its inception. Feminism has nothing to do with the black movement, with the black community, with the bond between the black man and the black woman. I understand the tenets, but feminism is something that was started by white women because she wanted equality with her fucking man. That had nothing to do with us. But because the dominant society found a way to bring our women in and convince them that this is a part of you as well, you should be latching on with us to fight for this shit, during those times when that shit came out, it had nothing to do with black people. And if you track the history of it, it still had nothing to do with us. Because the shit started in Europe with the Greeks. Then it came over here to what is called the United States. But during that particular time, we were in servitude. Then when you go to the civil rights movement, we weren't fighting for gender equality. We were fighting for equality as a whole. Equality not for the black woman or the black man, but for the black woman, the black man, the black child, the black family as a whole, for black communities, for the right to survive as black people in this fucking country. Feminism had no fucking place in our struggle, and it still doesn't have a fucking place in our struggle. Do our women need equality? Hell yeah, but not based off of this bullshit. So feminism is separated into 3 categories as far as my research. Category 1 deals with property rights and the right to vote. Category 2 deals with equality and anti-discrimination. Category 3, which states that the third category started in the 1990s as a backlash to the second wave's perceived privileging of white straight women, from ancient Greece to the fight for women's suffrage, to women's marches, and the hashtag Me Too movement. Now let's go back to category 1. Deals with property rights and the right to vote. Dealing with that in this country, white women had to go through that shit with their man, because that was the white male's way of thinking. That was not our way of thinking, because if you go back to ancient times as it dealt with our culture, we didn't deal with this separatism shit. We didn't deal with male dominance or female dominance. What we dealt with was equality. We dealt with what is called mayat, which is balance. We dealt with yin and yang, meaning you have 2 halves that are good by themselves, but when you bring them together, they make the whole. They complete the circle. That's what the fuck they do. They had no place in what we were doing as a people. And even when they brought us over here, as well as our people that were already over here that they enslaved, that's the way that we operated. The male knew his role, the female knew her role as far as black, male, and female relationships are concerned. Even under servitude, we knew our fucking roles. And that's how we held shit together. So, based on that category, how does that fit with the black woman as it pertains to her plight with her man? Category 2, equality and anti-discrimination. Well, we didn't have no goddamn equality. We still don't have no fucking equality. And as far as discrimination is concerned, they didn't just discriminate against black women and didn't discriminate against the black man. They discriminated against both our asses. But again, that was some shit that the white woman was dealing with as far as the white man is concerned. How does that fit into our plight as a people? And then dealing with the third category as it pertains to the Me Too movement. Well, there is no fucking Me Too movement no more, because from what I've learned, that movement was started by a black woman for black women. Because when it came to the things that were happening in our community, no one was speaking up about it. It was not being broadcast on social media. It wasn't being put out on, prominent news networks. And as far as black men are concerned, we weren't talking about shit like that. Hell, I wasn't talking about shit like that because I didn't know anything about that. Now, that's not to say I'm naive to, women being abused and battered and raped and things of that nature, but seeing it in a way to where it became the order of the day, I didn't look at it like that. And so therefore I didn't respond to the shit like that. Now I can't answer that question for all men, but that's just the way that I looked at it. Now, as far as my relationships were concerned, I had 2 relationships where we did some physical fighting. And with me, I got the fuck out of those relationships. Well, one relationship I got out of, and the other relationship, she left on her own, but she did both of us a fucking favor. But what I was seeing was that we were becoming fucking fools. We were becoming a detriment to each other to the point where I couldn't blame them and they couldn't blame me. We did stupid shit in the relationship that drove us to the point where we were beginning to hate each other and were trying to take each other out. So with my personal experience, I can talk about it, but from the way the Me Too movement was structured so that it could be a voice for those women who were dealing with that shit on a bigger scale, I never looked at it like that. So therefore, I didn't talk about shit like that. But that whole movement that was started by a black woman for black women has been hijacked to the point where when it's talked about now, you still don't hear the outcry for black women. You still don't hear it. It's been flipped to the point now where, hell, the Me Too movement ain't even black no more. That shit is whitewashed now. And black women are still going through the same shit. And this is causing a further divide between the black woman and the black man, because they look at us like we're not addressing the problem, and we're looking at them like y'all are the problem. But this movement was put together so that things could be done, things could be worked out, and these black women could find some kind of peace and move forward. But getting shit done with this movement doesn't just mean it's getting done for black women, because it's going to affect black men as well. It's going to make you look at yourself and be like, yo, in a sense, I did become a monster. And I gotta find some way to mend that fence between my woman and myself. But since this movement has been hijacked, as far as that movement is concerned, I don't see how that shit is going to happen. But are the fences going to be mended? Hopefully they will. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to where we need to get back to in order to do what needs to be done as far as putting the black family back on point as far as being a family again. But let's keep it moving. Now, early feminists. This is coming from one of Europe's great voices, I should say, Plato. And this is what I found on Plato. In his classic Republic, Plato advocated that women possess natural capacities equal to men for governing and defending ancient Greece. Not everyone agreed with Plato. When the women of ancient Rome staged a massive protest over the Oppian law, which restricted women's access to gold and other goods, Roman consul Marcus Porcius Cato argued, as soon as they began to be your equals, they will have become your superiors. That's some European shit. That's some Greek and Roman shit. That's the way they fucking men thought. So that's why they always kept the woman at the fucking bottom, because they feared what she possessed as far as their women are concerned. But when you go to our history, we didn't fear that. We embraced that. We celebrated the woman. Hell, the damn woman was celebrated more than the fucking man. And we always put her up on a pedestal. So again, what place does this feminist shit have to do with the black struggle and this shit that's going on between the black man and the black woman? The only reason why we are at this fucking point now is not because the black man is fucked up. He was taught how to be fucked up. And now that shit is ingrained in his mind to the point where he don't want to come up out of that shit. The black woman, the same thing. The shit that a lot of y'all do, you're not doing that because that's who you are. You're doing that because that's the way you've been taught to be. And it is ingrained in your psyche to the point now where you don't want to come up out of that shit. Now you got brothers wanting to be damn women and women wanting to be damn men. That shit is backwards. But that whole concept comes from a group of people that have taught us how to be other than ourselves. So now we go into what is referred to as male dominance versus female dominance. Now, that statement by Marcus Porcius Cato is what leads us into the so-called gender war between the black man and the black woman. But you don't see that same war between the white woman and the white man. The white woman is fighting for equality with her man, while a lot of black women and black men are fighting to separate themselves from one another. You don't find white women trying to get the fuck away from their man, even though they may say some shit that may be true that is pertaining to the white man. They're not trying to distance themselves from their fucking male counterpart. What they want is equality within what he has already built. We, on the other hand, try to distance ourselves to the point where you got the woman saying, I don't need no fucking man. Hell, I'm the man and the goddamn woman. Then you got some brothers that are out there that are like, you know, fuck being with a black woman, man. They too this, they too that. They too fucking extra. So he'll go out and get him a woman from another society. And then all of y'all think y'all doing some shit, but what you're doing is you're fucking up our fucking race. You can't talk about black power if you ain't got a black man or a black woman by your damn side. Because now, when you do that, you got to include shit from the other race. Because that's a part of your family now. And if you have babies with them, then that's a part of your genetic line now. And you have to deal with that. So this whole shit that, you know, if a black man gets with a white woman and they have kids, them kids are black. No, them kids are not black. Those kids are mixed. They have some black in them, but you cannot exclude the mother. And the same thing with the black woman. A lot of us want to say, well, those are white kids because they were fathered by a white male. No, those are mixed kids. You can't exclude the father and you cannot exclude the mother. But we want to pick and choose certain fucking titles to where, you know, people are like, well, you get all of your mitochondria DNA from the mom, or the man is the dominant factor. Some of y'all sound fucking stupid, man. I understand the science and I understand what you're saying. But at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, and the actual fact is, you cannot exclude one or the other. Because when it comes down to it, it took two fucking people to make one baby or several goddamn babies. This is not that bullshit that they teach you in church where a fucking woman was a virgin and miraculously she had a fucking child without the aid of a man. And dealing with what we're talking about now, there's no man that's going to have a child without the aid of a woman. And there's no woman that is not going to have a child without the aid of a man. So we're not going to intellectualize this shit as far as dealing with mitochondria DNA or the man is the dominant factor. No, it takes two. That's the bottom line. So now, when it comes to this fight, as far as feminism or feminists are concerned, what were white women fighting for? This is their fight. White women, they wanted equality based on income, jobs, respect as a woman, a voice in politics, economics, society, as in locally, nationally, and internationally, the right to control her destiny as it pertains to her man. How did the white man think as far as him dealing with his woman or dealing with people in general? His goal is complete and total domination of the planet by any means necessary. And even with him thinking that way, if you notice, white women know this shit. But you still don't see them trying to get the fuck away from them. Because a lot of white men don't give a fuck about white women, period. Because a lot of them think in the manner in which I just spoke on, as well as that dude that I just quoted who opposed what Plato was talking about. You know, the same dude that said, as soon as you let a woman get one up on you, she gonna try to rule you. A lot of them still think like that. And that's why come they had fucking gender wars. We didn't have no goddamn gender wars until we came up under their fucking rulership. So now, as a counterpart to what I just spoke on, how does the black woman think? Well, the black woman, same as the white woman. She wants those same equalities, but not just from the black man. She wants that from the dominant society as well. But in all actuality, it's not us, so to speak, that you want that equality from. It's from them. Because remember, y'all tell us we don't own shit. We don't do shit. We don't control shit. So why would you come and say those things to a motherfucker that don't have those things? You have to direct that energy towards the people that are in control. And as it stands in this country, and partly around the world, white men control the majority of this shit. The only thing that y'all can really come at us about is the shit that we don't do as far as family is concerned. And a motherfucker probably wanting to put his hands on you. But as far as education, economics, controlling the society, because as it stands now, black men don't control shit. And the white man has put y'all in a position to where you have more control. And then on top of that, he'll back you faster than he will us. And then with the black man, how the fuck does he think? Or how do some of us think? The black man wants to be accepted by his oppressor and find a comfortable spot in his society where he thinks he will be safe. And that's how a lot of us think. But those are the black men that don't want to do shit. See, they're not willing to lay down their lives to fight for a fucking cause, a just cause. We talking about a group of people that have decimated us ever since they've been in contact with us. And you got these men who are too punctified, too sissified to want to fight against someone who has taken everything from you. Me, they took every fucking thing from me, or at least they thought they did. When I was with the woman that I was with that had my first 4 kids, I was with her when child support started and didn't even know I had to pay this shit. She knew. I was set up from the fucking door. But after everything was said and done, I understood why she did what she did. But that don't mean I forgot the shit. Do I still get angry about it? Hell yeah. But I understood why she did what she did. She don't get no fucking pass for what the fuck she did. Because I understand the shit now and I've learned to move on. But at the same time, if they wouldn't have set that fucking system up to where she had to choose between her man and fucking money and assistance, chances are she would have never chose that shit. And we probably would have still been together to this day with our families intact. It also put a strain on my relationship with my children. Because now I got to be a weekend dad. See, that bond that you get with your children, that shit is a 24-hour thing, 7 days a week. And when you're seeing your kids every other weekend or every weekend, even though you have time with them, that bond is not solidified the way it would be solidified if you were seeing them every fucking day. So those were things that they took away from me. They took away my ability as far as financially to where I could have a home and have my kids in my house with me every fucking day, even though I eventually got it to that point. But I had to go back to being a fucking weekend dad. Why? Because couldn't get the child support reduced. I knew I couldn't get it cut off, but as long as I could get it reduced so that I could keep my children in my home with me, because me and the mom had came up with an agreement to where she would have them 7 days a week, and then we would switch and I would have them 7 days a week. So that would be 2 weeks out of the month for me, 2 weeks out of the month for her. That would be 6 months of time she would have with them, 6 months of time I would have with them. But because her mind was warped into thinking, well, he ain't gonna do what the fuck he said he was gonna do, she stuck with the shit as far as rolling with the goddamn slave master. But I was never a deadbeat dad. I took care of my kids from the fucking door. I didn't need for some motherfucker to come in and tell me, well, this is what you gonna do. Bitch, I'm already doing the shit. But like I said, she got caught up into that madness. But I fought these motherfuckers for that shit. Because the way that we think now and the way that we do things, everything you can tie back to these people. But what we end up doing is we want to sugarcoat the shit and place blame on a motherfucker that you can use as a goddamn scapegoat instead of placing the blame on the people that you need to place the fucking blame on. So this is something else that I wrote. Our problem as a people is that we have adopted the mentality of the oppressor. Feminism is a fight between the white woman and the white man. When feminism started, it had nothing to do with us, which is what I stated earlier. We were fighting to get free from chattel slavery as well as civil rights, which we are still fighting for to this very day. And that's why you have so many people talking about, voting. Rock the vote. We got to get out and vote. We got to vote this person in, vote that person in. Our people want to be free so damn bad that they are willing to settle for the lesser of two evils when you can start your own shit up. We can start our own shit up. Matter of fact, that's what we need to do. Our way of life, which is what I stated earlier, is based on balance, mayat, yin and yang. Not this shit of male dominance versus female dominance. That goes against nature. That is chaos. And white folks have this thing where they got order out of chaos, meaning they'll create chaos in order to find a way to bring order to the situation. Well, this is chaos for us. Ain't no goddamn order coming up out of that shit. It's going to keep being chaos, and we're going to keep having the divide get wider and wider and wider and wider to the point where there won't be a black family. There won't be a black community. Hell, we already don't have black businesses or black schools. They took all that shit out. The last thing that they're planning on doing is to keep driving this damn wedge between the black man and the black woman until it gets to the point where there is nothing else left. And just like we're always saying that white people can be taken off the planet genetically, well, that shit can happen to black people as well. Because if we're not producing with black, then how does black stay on the planet? If we have this fucking divide and to the point where we want to go out and find other people to deal with in order to procreate because we can't get our shit right and do what we need to do to stay together as black men and black women. So just like they can be annihilated on a genetic level, so can black people. And that brings us to black male versus the image of non-black males, meaning the mentality. So what do they say about black males as far as the mentality? Black males are lazy, irresponsible, childlike, thuggish, manipulative, lacks compassion, untrustworthy, not marriage material, hates black women, unsuccessful in any endeavor, just an all-around devil, versus his counterpart. Non-black males, they're productive, responsible. They conduct themselves as adults. They're non-thuggish, straight up, compassionate, trustworthy, marriage material, appreciates the black woman more than the black man, successful in any endeavor. All around good guy. And that's the image that is being portrayed. And that's why when you hear people like, what is her name? Lonnie Love say the things that she said, and you have other women that have said or made remarks similar to that. That's what I have a problem with. Because I'm like, one, you can only talk about the individual that you dealt with. You don't know all black men. Two, we can generalize this shit. White men fucking cheat. They are notorious for cheating. And when it comes to their marriages and their relationships and whatnot, especially with marriage, 9 times out of 10, those marriages don't last because they're in love. They stay together out of fucking convenience, meaning no one wants to part or depart with the material shit that they've built up. No one wants to separate the children. And then on top of that, you got to look at the fact that somebody's going to have to pay alimony. And some of these motherfuckers pay alimony for a long goddamn time. So when you put all of these things right here into the pot, and then a motherfucker got to weigh the pros and the cons, they ain't letting that shit go. So they'll stay together and give you one image to the public, but behind closed doors, that shit is totally different. That motherfucker probably out there, he got mistresses and shit, fucking prostitutes and shit that he's fucking. And then she probably got her man on the damn side. But when they come together in front of them goddamn cameras, in front of people that they know, it's like they the fucking Partridge Family. But that ain't how shit is. And so these motherfuckers, these men, these white men get put up on a goddamn pedestal like they the shit. And the black man is the worst goddamn thing since AIDS. But when you really deal with this shit, that's how this shit work. They don't stay together because, you know, they know how to make marriages and relationships work. 9 times out of 10, these people stay together for convenience. To whereas when you're dealing with black folks, see, a black woman is only going to take but so much, and then she going to get the fuck out. But guess what? A black man is only going to take but so much, and he's going to get the fuck out. And just like now, we are fucking fed up with the bullshit. Just like those black women who want to bitch and talk all the time, we gonna start talking as well. But see, the ones that are gonna start talking are not gonna be them dudes that y'all throw under the goddamn bus that are actually doing the bullshit. We talking about the dudes that don't do that shit, that y'all want to link with these motherfuckers and make it seem like all of us are the same. Nah, we get ready to start putting y'all asses in check. And that's why I named this video Unapologetic. I'm not apologizing for shit. If y'all gonna keep coming at us the way y'all keep coming at us and throwing us up under the fucking bus with all of these motherfuckers that you picked, that you dated, that you saw the fucking warning signs, but you continue to deal with this bitch anyway, and you want to keep putting us in that fucking narrative, nah, we gonna change that shit. You gonna come at us, we gonna come at your ass just as hard. So if you don't want that shit to happen, if you want us to try to find some type of common ground, let's do that. Because I think that would be the wise thing to do. Because we need y'all. I would never, ever tell a black woman that we don't need y'all. We need y'all. But we cannot continue to keep putting up with the shit that we have been putting up with for the past couple of years. And we know y'all can't either. Just like y'all have the right to voice your opinion about how the fuck you feel, about how some of us have fucked up. Well, goddamn it, we got a right to voice our opinion about how some of y'all have fucked up. And how you always want to keep linking us in this fucking narrative with the dominant society that says the black man ain't shit. Y'all ain't get ready to keep doing that bullshit. Not on my goddamn watch anyway. And like I said, I'm not apologizing for shit. This is the way I fucking feel. This is my goddamn story, and I'm gonna stick with it. So, with all of this shit that's going on with the black man and how they want to keep throwing us up under the bus, the reason why they want to do that shit and why they want to cause this goddamn wedge between the black man and the black woman is because they know once this black man gets his shit together and get his head back where it's supposed to be, he's an unstoppable force. Now, here's a question that I want to ask you guys. This is pertaining to just the general public. What y'all gonna do when we take this shit back? This is to the black women that feel like black men ain't shit. All the black females that roll with the program, meaning what the dominant society has had to say about black men in general, that all black men ain't shit. What y'all gonna do when we snatch the goddamn crown back? Because we gonna get it back. We gonna be back on top. This black man is gonna snatch this shit back, and we gonna run this shit, and we ain't gonna never ever let what happened to us in the past happen to us again. That day is coming. You're seeing the changing of the guard as I'm speaking right now. What y'all gonna do then? Because we're gonna take this shit back. We working on it right now as we speak, regardless of whether you see this shit on social media, regardless of whether the dominant society shows this shit. We're gonna take this shit back. And then what y'all gonna do? What the fuck you gonna have to say then? And who the fuck you gonna run to then to protect your ass from the fucking men that have been beat down, broke down, but found a way to rise up out of this shit, reclaim his fucking throne, and reclaim his goddamn woman? Now, here's my other question. You sell out Negro males that disrespect and turn your back on black women that hold you down and have held you down. What you gonna do when we start checking your ass for abandoning the black family? Because that day is coming. The day is coming when we gonna start snatching you motherfuckers up. That may be physically, that may be mentally, but that day is gonna come when you're not gonna keep disrespecting the black woman, and you're not gonna keep tearing the black family down, and you're not gonna keep making babies and then you don't fucking take care of them. That day is gonna come, and it's just around the corner. So those are 3 questions that I pose to y'all. How you gonna answer that shit? What you gonna do when that day arrives? Now I'm gonna read this shit to y'all and then I'm done. Success. Our success is not measured by the dominant society, nor is it measured by bitter black women that have been hurt by bitter black men. Our success is measured by those black men that have remained faithful to the cause of black liberation, as well as those black men that went astray but found their way back home to make black liberation, black communities, and black families a reality once again. I'm gonna go on. I won't apologize for being black. I won't apologize to being angry at the dominant society. I won't apologize for telling ignorant black women and black men that uphold black genocide by only dating outside of their race that they can kiss my ass, because you refuse to acknowledge the beauty in the black woman as well as the black man. I'm unapologetic as far as all of this shit is concerned. My thing is, why say something and then take it back because of the repercussions that may follow? There is no right or wrong to freedom, and 2 wrongs don't make it right. But Sister Soldier said it damn sure makes it even. So don't apologize for shit. Speak your truth and let the truth set us all free. So as I stated earlier, as I've stated throughout what I had to say, I am unapologetic. I'm not apologizing for shit. Whatever I said, I meant it. Whatever way it came out, I meant it. And if you don't like it, goddamn it, you're going to have to deal with it. This is Hakim Muhammad. I'm out. Peace and blessings. I salute you. Till the next time, Black Power. Peace.